Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how to remove the tenon or mortise on the bottom of a piece without it flying off the lathe. The product that I'm going to be using is the Sorby longworth chuck. I do like it a lot, but as a word of wisdom, I'll put words of wisdom on the end of the video about the spigot, because it's ridiculous if you don't have a Sorby chuck or jaws. You could have just put a spindle thread there instead, and you could have used adapters to adapt it to your own lathe, but that's the word of wisdom's bit at the end anyway. But I've seen posts on various Facebook groups where people have been saying my piece keeps on jumping off the lathe when I use cold jaws or longworth chucks, so I thought I'd do this video just to give you a few tips on how to do it safely so your piece doesn't come off. So hopefully you enjoy it. Right, first of all, you've got to make sure with cold jaws or longworth chucks is to always have tailstock support. Never try to take the tenon off when you've only got that much grip at the top. These buttons that I'm using are one-way buttons. There's other makes, but the short conical as opposed to long straights, because they've got a little bit of extra grip. So what I'm going to do now is, that's the setup. Obviously I've got tailstock support, I've got the tool rest as close as I can without contacting the tailstock, the live centre, and I've got all the wing nuts all tightened down fully. I've tested it already. That's as fast as I turn these. The recommended speed on this is 600, so I knock it just that little bit less down, down. Always test to turn the speed off first, obviously turn it on and then slowly speed it back up. That way you're testing for, I wish this camera would stop doing that. That way you're testing for noise, and what you're listening for is friction noises like a rub, 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 rub. In which case the actual piece itself isn't, the rim isn't flush up properly, you haven't got enough support, or the wing nuts aren't tightened down enough, so there's a little bit of movement to the wood on the actual chuck itself. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to set up the tripod so I'm not hand holding it, and I'll get turning the tenon off. Right, on closer inspection, I don't like this little spigot, because when I put tailstock support on it, there's a slight split on the side. So as I'm taking this down, there's quite a bit of force, and that might split open. So it could be unsupported. So I know it's all central and everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take off the tailstock and remove that. But what you need to do is you need to move the tailstock in. Well, just take the support off just that little bit. So when it's spinning, it's just barely touching, and that way when you're taking that off you can get right down to the actual point and take that off, and if the piece starts to shift, your tailstock point is in the way, so it's not going to actually come off, or shouldn't come off. But I'm going to put a little bit of pressure on first, actually thinking about it. I've knocked the speed down a little bit. Right, so it's about 580. I'm using a spindle gouge, and it's a severe iris grind or fingernail grind. What I'm doing is I'm putting pressure towards the chuck. What you're doing is you're touching the spigot. You don't want the corners. This is why it's a severe edge. You don't want the corners hitting the actual tenon itself. And now I'm shear scraping. Now what I do is release the pressure a bit, so it's just barely touching, very, very soft touches. Do you hear that? That's what I mean. About very, very soft touches. Now I've took that down. Did you hear that? That wobble? Now I've took that down a little bit. I'm happy to put the pressure back on. Notice if the tool rest isn't touching. Right, obviously the longer the piece is, the more of a vibration you're going to get. So yeah, just keep the live centre as close as possible when you're just taking a nib off, or always contacting when you're not. So now I'm going to use the bowl gouge, 1/2 inch bowl gouge. Because it's got that support, I can put a bit more pressure on now. The whole idea is to take us quite a bit off. I'm shear scraping now with the flute at say 9 o'clock as I'm looking at it. The idea is to take as much off as you can, but still leave a sturdy spigot in the middle. When you come close to that spigot, you need to be turning the flute so it's going. So if you do touch it, it's going to be a shear scrape. So as I'm going that way, I'm turning the flute so it's at about approximately 3 o'clock. Right, this is end grain as well, so it's proven to be very hard, and also it's softwood, so it's tearing up something chronic. Obviously I can't avoid that because it's end grain, it's a slow speed, and it is a sharp chisel because I did actually sharpen it before I started doing this. Right, when you get to the end, I'll zoom out a little bit so you can see. You need the flute bang on 3 o'clock. You don't want it up, you don't want it down or whatever, or you don't want it up in the air at 45 or whatever. You want it smack on 3 o'clock. You're just testing just that edge, and the whole idea is to shear scrape it across. You don't want it. You don't want the tool skipping across your work, otherwise then you'll be in tears. So the whole idea is at 3 o'clock you just and now you've got that foot. You can turn the chisel back up to about say 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, somewhere around there. Now when you've done that, you get a roller, point it across, What I've done there is I've gone it at an angle so it's not a flat foot. When it's actually sitting, it's been right on the edge itself. So now I do a shear scrape. In fact, I'm going to move the tool rest away a little bit, still making sure it's not touching the live centre. Now I'm going to go like a shear with the flute flat, like a shear scrape, and just take that edge off a little bit. This is my preference. You don't have to do this, obviously. Now I've gone too far the other way. That's better. So now I've got a section that's about 10mm that's going to be a contact point all the way around for the actual surface that it's going to be standing on. Now the whole idea of it is to get a nice even curve down like a concave shape down to centre. I'm going to take the speed up a tiny little bit. So make sure it's all locked off. Always looking at that bevel. I like doing push cuts like this because you can see a definite bevel there and make sure it's contacting all the time. Test with the ruler again. It's a nice curve. So now I'm going to start taking that spigot down, but I'm going to keep the obviously the tailstock support as much as I can. Right, I'll swap into this. I think this is a quarter inch spindle gouge by Hamlet gouge, put that way round. It's probably upside down. I put the tailstock as close as I possibly can. I've dropped the tool rest down a little bit as well. It looks like it's touching, but it's not, it's actually underneath a little bit. So I'm below centre. Freshly sharpened. This is end grain, so it's a lot easier with a spindle gouge. You've got to make sure that the corners don't touch, same as always. Right, I'm getting very close now, so it's very dainty touches. going to swap in a second now. Right, now I'm going to swap to the other one. Give me a shout if my head gets in the way. Now I'm going to take the speed down. It's about 320. See that the tone's changed. It's snapped and it's come off. Get one of these rubber things, touch the sand off. Right, I need to be sanding this quite a bit because this is softwood and it's very, very easy to tear out. That is going to need an epic amount of sanding. I should have shown you on some hardwood. I'm going to use the Hope system. In fact, I can't, can I? Let's use the Hope system. I've got to have it on a fast speed. So I'm going to carry on and I'll come back to you. And that's it. Sand it up to 240. Now what I don't do, I don't stain, colour or wax the bottom, especially not the foot. What's going to rest on the surface. The reason why is you have it on the surface for a while, you move it, you end up with a ring on the surface. So, but you don't want water or moisture soaking in either. So what I do is I just get a bit of sanding sealer, cellulose sanding sealer, or you can use acrylic or whatever sealer you've got. You've got to be careful of drips because obviously if it's on the lathe you don't want it dripping round and onto your wax. You rub it on softly. Always watching out for drips. And also it gives a natural colour as well. So if you have stained your piece, it shows off the real colour of what the wood used to be. And then when you get to the edge, just carefully go around the edge. What I like to do is just hold the pad in one position and then just turn the lathe by hand. And go around any stubborn bits. So I'll come back to you when I've done that. Right, now it's to take it off the lathe. Wait for the sanding sealer to dry. You just undo all the wing nuts. Or if you've got cold jaws, obviously slacking them off. What I'll do is just turn it and take it off. Now what's left now is just a bit of a dusting. Let's get a bit of clean rag. Being careful not to drop the bowl on the floor, because that will severely annoy me. You just go around the cloth and just wipe all your dust off. And that's it. You've got your bowl, or vase, or piece with the tenon or the mortise stuck off it. Right, just a word of wisdom. This is a Robert Sorby chuck, longworth chuck. Now, believe it or not, I didn't actually know that it's a Robert Sorby one when I bought it. I just bought it as advertised as a longworth chuck. The spigot only fits on a Sorby chuck. As you can see on my Axminster jaws, they're not actually dovetail. They're not actually dovetail. The spigot is a dovetail, but I've had to have this lot there, the actual depth of that, it was the same all the way along. And I had to have this machined to have a layer taken off it. And the reason why is because the dovetail is very deep, and there was a extra additional bit of steel on the top of here, so these ridges wouldn't actually reach the dovetail. So I've had to have that machined and then put back on, because I'll be damned if I'm buying a Sorby chuck and Sorby jaws just to mount that. If they'd have just put a spindle thread on the back of it, that would have been fine. But now they're penny pinching, they're putting their own damn spigot on it, so you have to buy a chuck to use it. So if you haven't got Sorby chucks, and you haven't got a way to have that machined, I didn't machine that myself. I had to take it to a place to have it machined, and they charged me a tenner to have that machined on a metal lathe, which I didn't mind so much. But if you haven't got a way to machine that down, and you haven't got a Sorby chuck or jaws, then I'd look at getting another brand or making your own. So hope that helped you out, and happy turning.